There's more than one way to be Black, and that's why we want you to feel seen. Redefine Black, it's all about making it your own. So that's why Redefine Black presents Talk Black to Me, the podcast. Tune in. So, welcome to another episode. Today's guest is Arielle Saturnè. We're so
Hello.
to have you on this episode of Redefine Black presents Talk Black to Me. So Arielle is a doula and she is a co-founder of Adventure Crew. So we're going to
Mm-hmm.
start with your journey as a doula. We know like
Mm-hmm.
1 in 3 Black women, especially in the U.S., die a lot faster than any other race.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very important topic right now. We're starting to see more documentaries and people talk about it. But like, what began your journey as a doula?
Well, I call myself the Auntie Doula. And I really accredit my journey into birth work to one of my nieces, who's now 7 years old.
Oh, nice.
When my brother and his partner were in labor, they called me and they were like, "Can you come watch your nephew while your niece is coming into the world?" Of course, I was like, "Absolutely." So I went over there. My nephew was fast asleep. My niece actually came after midnight. So they invited me into their birthing space. My niece was born at home. She was born in the water. And it was a life-changing event for me. It was something that I was totally spiritually prepared for, but not, you know, not
Physically being
something
in
that
that
I,
space.
right. Yeah. I mean, it was low light. It was my brother, his partner, the midwife's assistant, and myself. And so I was able to film the entire thing for them. And just to see the joy on my brother's face when he caught his daughter. So it was something that changed the way that I understood birth and the cycle of life and being on the welcoming team and things of that nature. So then fast forward, I mean, it wasn't like, oh, now I want to be a doula, not by any means. I actually come from an entertainment background prior to birth work.
Okay.
So the pandemic hit, Hollywood shut down, so that meant I was out of a check, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it just opened up a space for most of us to kind of find what speaks to us spiritually and to really have the time to really delve into that. So for me, I was always, from the moment my niece was born, always, oh, showing birth videos. Look at this. Did you know the body did this? Da, 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 that kind of thing.
You didn't get like freaked
And
out by all that stuff like some people do.
I I didn't. I mean, of course, some of it was like, whoa, but it wasn't something that scared me. And my partner was just like, you should be a doula. I was like, what? Okay. So I signed up for my first class, my first online uh, program, and it was set for April 2020. So it just so happened
Oh,
that that timing for me to arrive to that point and have so much free time, just like everybody.
mm-hmm.
Um, and I took another training later in the year, and then I've taken midwife's assistant training. I'm now in an apprenticeship to be a midwife. So I'm a student midwife now. But I have a lot of doula babies. I got a lot of nieces and nephews
Yeah.
now.
The official
And
idea of it all, right?
official big auntie, big auntie status. So yeah, I mean, it was an unconventional kind of route, but I really truly believe that birth work calls you in. It's not something that you can actually seek. It's something that you have the spirit for, you have the soft skills for, you learn the technical things that you need to know, and so on and so forth. And if you can withstand the historical traumas and be that person that stands in the gap to
Mm-hmm.
be a bridge for safety.
Yeah.
Um, we do die 3 to 4 times more than our white counterparts, and that is being remedied by having Black care teams. So it's been a journey to learn the ins and outs of what hospital care looks like, what out of hospital care looks like. And it's been a real honor to be able to share space with families in their most sacred time.
Right.
A lot of my clients are first time parents. I have a few who I'm doulaing for the second time already, which is beautiful. Thank you. So it's definitely something that I really take a lot of responsibility and honor to approach that space with making sure that I'm not coming with my baggage. I
Right.
mean, being a doula has really grown me up spiritually. I think it requires so much self realization
Mhm.
that you are aware of the energy you bring into a space and you're
Right.
sure to be of service, but not taking up space
Right.
in someone else's birthing experience, if that makes sense. It
Yeah.
takes a lot of intuition to know, is this the person that's going to need affirmations? Is this the person that's going to need physical touch? Is this person going to need their partner to be called in, or is their partner going to be an active participant in a way where they just need to be given the you got this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like every
Are you the
family is
cheerleader?
different.
Yeah. Or what?
Yeah, absolutely. Every family is different, and what is required of you as a doula is different because some people are going to come with their own life story behind them that is going to play an integral part in their birth space
Right.
that they may or may not know might show up, you know? So it takes a lot of patience and a lot of care that as Black people, I think we're very communal in a way that this feels spiritually aligned in so many ways. I could go on for hours
About
just talking about how important it is to know your options, to know what you can say yes to, what you can say no to, and invite and exclude out of your birth space.
right. I think it's
So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very important because if we just like think back to like slavery, specifically in America, that's how
Mhm.
we like really started our birthing journey as Black people. Like it was the communal, we had our midwives, doulas there,
Of course.
It wasn't the hospital. I feel like that's a new thing. Like hospitals aren't bad as well either, but like
Correct.
picking picking what is best for you. And I
Yeah.
know you said you're on your journey to become a midwife. Can you just touch on the
Hmm.
difference between the two?
So, a midwife is someone who is there to give you the birth education that you need. They're there for spiritual support. They're there for, oh, I have this remedy. This is what I'm going through. They're your sounding board, and they're the person that's going to be your resource hub as well.
Okay.
That's the person that's going to be able to say, well, these are the resources we have. This is what I know. If I don't know the answer, I have no ego in saying I don't know the answer.
Hmm.
I'm gonna go find that answer for you. Your midwife is your medical care provider.
Okay.
So a midwife is going to be able to order labs
Okay.
and is going to be able to do different exams that a doula can't do.
Hmm.
So the doula is there primarily through the entire laboring process. Every birth story is different, but
Hmm.
for the most part, your midwives need to be sharp in the moments that the baby is arriving.
Okay.
So, although there's overlap in what our approaches are to birth, what our roles are very different, if that makes sense. You
Yeah.
want your midwife to have all of the training that says, I can give you this medication if we need to. You want your doula to tell you that you can make these decisions autonomously,
Hmm.
and you have a care team that's going to support those decisions and also keep you and the baby safe.
Right. It's almost
So
like
it's
you thinking like doctor, nurse, almost. I mean, a nurse can do some things too, but like a doctor
kind of
or medical.
right. So when your doctor comes in, exactly, if you can imagine, that's a really good analogy. If you can imagine the hospital birth setting, the doctor's only going to come in for when that baby is
Right.
on the way out and for repairs that may be needed. Now,
Hmm.
your nurse is going to be caring for you periodically throughout the time.
Right.
And then also your care team splits in the hospital setting to care team for the parent and care team for the baby. So there's a little bit more people, more hands on deck in a hospital setting. Doulas can work contrary to popular belief, in both settings.
Oh,
For me, yeah, for all settings rather, home birth is also another setting. Home birth, birth center, and hospital.
okay.
Um, so, I truly believe that out of hospital setting for those who can is the safest option. I'm not by any means anti-hospital, of course not. I am pro safety, right? And being able to provide as much of a safe environment as possible is important. So midwives are experts in low risk pregnancy. Doctors and OBGYNs they are experts in high risk pregnancy.
Yeah.
So if we can differentiate what is needed, we don't have to step on each other's toes.
Hmm.
It can be in, collaboration with one another as well.
Yeah. I think a lot of people get that misconception, like doula, that means you're only at home,
Yeah.
no
That's not the
hospital.
case.
Yeah.
It's your choice where you want to birth. I'm there to support whatever your decisions are. As long as you know what your options are, you can make an informed choice on what's best for you, what's best for your family. And also some families are like, yeah, I'm low risk, but I also feel safer in the event of an emergency to birth inside the hospital. Completely up to you. There's no right or wrong way to birth is if you're informed and you feel safe.
Right.
Yeah.
So as you have dove into, the whole doula arena, like
Yeah.
what would you say, like as you're studying and getting more into it, have you looked and saw as anybody to be your inspiration, or like, oh yeah, like I like how this doula does things specifically like a black person, or you just kind of drawn your own inspiration?
Well, um, it's that's a good question. I feel to see other Black women in my community doing the work
Mm-hmm.
is incredible. I mean, I have a lot of doula friends that I'm kind of coming up with.
Okay.
I have a friend named Gina, who's an incredible doula. Devin is an incredible doula. The hood doula also, she's moved over to Cassie, she's moved over to New Jersey, I believe.
Okay.
But also the midwives that came before me. Um, Kimberly Durden is a co-owner of Kindred Space in Los Angeles. Yeah, I mean, I took my second doula training was with Sabia Wade. And her training, she's out of Atlanta, I believe. And hers is the birthing advocacy, which is so inclusive to many different families. They center Blackness, they center queerness, and the way that they approach care is the way that it should be the standard. Let me just tell you, it should be the standard. Trauma informed care is so important because you don't know what traumas people are coming to the table with,
Right.
but it is your responsibility to approach everyone as if they have a trauma that
Mm-hmm.
they're not going to share with you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So those are the kinds of things that, learning from Black people is really important. This is a reclamation of sorts of this field. And I can tell you exactly the moment that I decided, oh, I have a responsibility to become a midwife. Because I by no means was I trying to become a midwife. Like becoming a doula was not a stepping stone for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I did read this article that I was like, damn, okay. So I read an article that said there are less than 700 Black midwives in the United States.
Wow.
And I was like, well, there it is,
And you just think
and
of all the states and the major cities by itself. 700.
yeah, 700. And this was a recent article. I read this last year.
Wow.
So, I mean, I'm sure there are a few more now, you know what I'm saying?
And
But
they're not
not
running in
enough to,
droves. Yeah.
right, not enough to keep how many Black people live in this country?
That's
44 million
yeah.
or something like that. Just 700. We can't carry it all, you know what I'm saying? So that, I mean, I know I have the disposition for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that I find very important. When I started to learn about our mortality rates, It's like the black man in the police is the doctor and the black woman, so it's something that once you get it, you can't look back. It would
Can't ignore
be
it.
a disservice to my people for me to not actually, step into what has been set forth for me.
Thank you. I mean, I feel like, again, there's so much that goes into birthing that people don't even think about. And you brought up
Mm-hmm.
so many things like, yeah, the trauma. Like, who thinks about that? It's already hard enough just to
Yeah.
get the baby out, but all the emotions,
Yeah.
the space you create, the energy you bring.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody wanted to get into doula, being a doula or a midwife,
Mm-hmm.
specifically a Black person, like what words of
Mm-hmm.
advice would you give them or resources would you give them to start their journey?
Well, for one, as it pertains to the self,
Hmm.
I would say don't be offended by your own checks that you need to give yourself. You got to check yourself a lot. And like I was mentioning before, becoming a doula really grew me up, and it made me step into my womanhood in a completely different way. That made me responsible for my actions. It made me responsible for the energy that I bring to a space in a way that I wouldn't have been required to do probably in any other true part of my life.
Wow.
So I think that if you have that calling,
Hmm.
know that what's required of you is bigger than you, and you're a vessel, and to treat the practice as such.
Wow.
Um, I would say Sabia Wade with birthing advocacy is an incredible place to be trained. There's also Mama Glow. A few of my friends have gone through Mama Glow and love that program as well. There are some programs that are tailored for us to step into what has been ours since the beginning of time,
And we
you
forgot.
know.
Yep.
So, just it's a returning to self of sorts.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that if this is something that is called upon your spirit,
Hmm.
it's not gonna go away.
Right. That's
It's
true.
not gonna go
You're gonna
away.
get a sign anytime. You're like, oh, another sign.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It's a responsibility to your people that you have to be willing to accept, willing to take on in a way that um, really uses you as a vessel in a way that, other people might find in their line of work. For people who are activists, I mean, birth work is activism. Don't get me wrong, because there are so many things that when you start to learn about the underbelly of what happens, whether it's with the hospital or CPS or all kinds of things that are just heinous, really, it really, you got to be able to use that anger that you're going to inevitably feel as fuel to make sure that you get the work done. Like, it's so many obstacles to even become a Black student midwife. I'm barely scratching the surface. I'm a baby student. So I mean, I only just started claiming that as my title now, because it takes
Yeah,
some
you gotta believe in
steps.
yourself too. And like, I'm
you
really
know
doing this. Yeah.
I'm really doing it. So to know that, there are obstacles ahead, don't let them stop you, and then find community in the other students
Yeah.
around you. I have the honor of working in my apprenticeship with two senior students that are Black women. And I really don't know if I could feel as safe as I do in my environment without other Black women. I do want to work, with other Black midwives and be under them. You know, for the future, I know that when we are united, when we combine, the safety is automatically there. And if this Black doula or this Black midwife isn't your flavor, there's gonna be another one
Right.
that's your flavor.
Right.
We're not monolithic, and that's why I think this conversation is so beautiful, because I'm I haven't seen any Black doulas like me. And everybody has their niche, if you will,
Yeah.
or their niche.
And
But
get what the person wants. Yeah.
Yeah, I come into this work my full self in a way that like surprises me that people are like, "Oh, you're tight." You know what I mean? Like I'm like, "Dang, there's so many parts of me that I think as a queer woman in the world, a queer Black woman, I've had to kind of
Shrink yourself.
compartmentalize, you know what I'm saying? And in this work, I don't have to do that. And I didn't even think to. That's why it's another clue that tells me I'm in the right space and I'm on the right path.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I'm serving Black families, I'm serving interracial families. I have yet to serve a queer family, but I know
You'll have.
that will be there for me, obviously. But you know, the trust that is built with families and all of the misconceptions that I've even told myself that I've had to undo over the years is that who I am as a person and what I bring to a space has nothing to do with a lot of the things that are, you know,
Yeah.
on my checklist as, making me a
Mm-hmm.
marginalized person. That's not
Right.
really the case. I think that cultural competence is so important in keeping Black women safe and
Mm-hmm.
Black families safe that if not us, then it's not going to happen.
Right. If we're not
Yeah.
first, yeah, who's gonna care about us if we don't care about ourselves?
Mhm.
I do have this question because I just thought about this. A doula and midwife, I know it says wife, but is it just women? Or
Actually, no.
okay.
Actually, no. I have a homie that did the training with me. He's out of Texas.
Mhm.
Teddy the doula, incredible man.
Okay.
And he's a doula, and I have so much respect for this man.
Mhm.
And every time we get to kind of communicate online, it makes me see manhood in a different light because it always is like, wow, you
Yeah.
know, in a predominantly female
Mhm.
space, he has the respect and honor for birth and what the responsibility is in a way that is truly incredible. So shout out to Teddy.
Oh, yeah,
I
shout
think he's
out to him.
incredible. If you in Texas, I believe Houston, I could be wrong, but if you in that area, holla at Teddy because he knows what he's talking about.
That's really dope. Yeah, because I feel like
Yeah.
it is a heavily female space, but I think
Yeah.
people just assume it has to be. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, so when you're not, I'm gonna say saving the world, you're basically a superhero in the birthing world. You do a venture crew, which you started with your
Yes.
partner. So
Yes.
I've been on one of your ventures, but can you just talk a little bit about
Yes.
that?
So our venture crew was born out of the middle of the pandemic, I would say. And it came from, of course, everyone wanting to connect, everyone having that need to get into fresh air, see the water, see
Mm-hmm.
the sun and the nature. We find that, Black people are now, I can't say that we don't, but I'm saying we haven't historically been welcomed into a lot of outdoor spaces. And, Aramoma and I, my partner and I would go on hikes and, find these waterfalls and do all these things that people would just hit us in our DM, like, I want to come. Where is this? And we was like, okay. So we opened it up just on our stories, really. Hey, Aramoma and I are going bungee jumping. Anybody who wants to come, this is where we'll be. This is what we're doing. And 12 people showed up.
Wow.
And that was 2 years ago now. And so it was like, oh, okay, like people really with it. And then they said, so when's the next one? And we said, oh, okay.
It's a
So
whole
this is a
thing.
thing now. This is a thing. So we've had over 500 people come across all of our events. We've had more than 30 events now. And we just had our first Bay Area hike, which was a lot of fun.
Really.
And we're trying to expand as much as we can. I think where this truly came from spiritually and from the heart, my partner is a cancer survivor. And during the time that she was figuring all of this out, we were together
Mm-hmm.
and we said, well, we don't know what life has to offer
Right.
after treatment or right as treatment is, underway. So we decided we were going to live those moments the best that we possibly could. And when she came out of that, that era we call the healing era. Um, that was 5 years ago now. So, 5 years in remission.
Yeah.
We thank God. That spirit has continued, and we protect the space primarily for Black people. There are other people of color that come and share space with us, but we prioritize Black people and experiencing things that typically we don't see ourselves in those spaces. We do summertime surf, so we have surf lessons 3 times a year. In the summer, we do hikes, we do water sports, we do all kinds of stuff, bungee jumping, skydiving. We feel safer in numbers. You know what I mean? Like if you can see another Black person do it, the fear is knocked off by at least 20% if you see another Black person doing it. Yeah. So,
I think you guys also give space to people that quote unquote want to do it, but they're like, oh, that's white people stuff. Like Black people don't do that. So now they can come out and freely enjoy themselves with other people that look like them.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know what? We open up the space for people to be scared because we all scared.
Right.
Let me tell you, when we went bungee jumping, I didn't even expect to be as scared as I was. I stepped onto that platform. I said, okay. I didn't know that the fear was gonna knock into me like this. I was like, oh shoot, I might not do this. But I mean, I ultimately did. Yeah. But I think being afraid and doing it anyway is such a spiritual thing that you can take with you beyond Adventure Crew, right? Like a lot of people have come back to us and said, I've never felt like this. Like, thank you so much for creating this space. Like, I take this with me when I walk into white spaces. I take this with me, this feeling when I go on, I know that I can be scared and do it anyway. Mm-hmm. I know that I can take up space here, no matter what the setting is it's something that's so spiritual that I feel like is connected in all parts of me. I mean, I'm an adventurer at heart, but I'm also someone who likes to keep spaces sacred. And I feel that Adventure Crew is one of those spaces where my partner and I honor those parts of us, where we protect that space, but we also invite you to push beyond your own limits.
Like your
perceived limits. You can be scared. I'm scared. People think that we're not scared when we do have the stuff that we do. No, I be terrified. There are moments terrified sometimes, but we're there together. And when we're able to share space together, there's literally nothing that we can't conquer.
Again, it's that community you talk. I feel like that's just like your life path. Like
that's the thing.
Get the community involved one way or another. But like I went on one of your hikes and it's just so nice. Like we had to go down like a mountain and y'all we had the rope, someone will be at the top, nobody's gonna get left behind, someone will help you down. It's just like nice to experience that because I grew up being from California. You grew up and do that maybe other Black people around the country don't do. But to do it with people like amongst your peers, it just feels like, how they used to do those Negro spirituals? I'm like, yes, we have
Yes.
It's like amazing time. So thank you for that.
Yes.
But any advice do you want to give to anyone that wants to come to an event or venture out? Like you said, don't put limits on yourself, but anything else you would like?
Yes. Well, one thing I would say, follow us on Instagram at Go Adventure Crew. We do have a wonderful spring, summer schedule already to go. We would love to have you tell your homies. And if you want to be adventurous, there is a space where you're welcome. And know that you are safe here, you are welcome here, and we're going to figure it out together. It's an adventure. And that a lot of the times the journey of it all is really the things that create those core memories. And we your people, so come on out, whether it's your first time or you're a vet when it comes to surfing or hiking or what have you. We would love to have you. So come on and join the crew. You can sign up for our email list. The link is in our bio. And we can't wait to see y'all.
And just so everyone knows, they're in California right now. LA area.
But now, correct. If you're in the California area, because we are starting to do some more Bay Area events as well. But one of the goals, because we do have a lot, one of the goals is to be able to take this beyond California. So in a city near you someday soon,
right. So still hit them up, still follow.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much. This was great.
Thank you too.
I learned so much. I hope our audience and listeners will learn so much as well.
Me too.
But before we...
And then also, sorry, for my doula work also, my Instagram is at the Auntie Doula. And you can find me there. You can find some of the things that I do. My website is there. So I'm here.
Yeah, be sure to follow her there as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay. I ask every guest this before they get off. So Black is.
Okay. Black is freedom.
Thank you. That was good.
Thank you.
And no one said it. Thank you so much.
Want to stay up to date with the Auntie Doula? Be sure to follow her on Instagram and click the link in her bio to go to her website and to find any tips about her services. Also, follow the Adventure Crew on Instagram so that you can check out when the next activity they'll be hosting.
Working for the Mardi Gras.
Tune in next week for an all-new episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast or on YouTube.